Alright, so we're back into another Dragon Ball Super Card Game video. Today we're going to go through a couple different things, actually quite a lot. We're going to talk about all of the new anniversary box stuff that features the new Android. I just want new Android stuff apparently, but new Agents of Destruction, including the breakdown, a couple decks, and even discussing and breaking down all the stuff that comes with it. But I'm not alone. We got the team with us. Jaden, Sandy, what's up?
Howdy.
Hey guys.
Hello. So we got their, wow. They've been playing the decks more than I have, so I wanted to make sure that they get the spotlight for this, and their lists are in this video as well. So definitely subscribe if you are new, if you want to see more of the anniversary box stuff. Let me know what you're working on. Definitely. But the anniversary box stuff is going to be coming out pretty soon here in a couple weeks. I think it's August 7th. And honestly, set 10 is going to simmer for a little bit from then until now, or now until then, I should say. And this is probably going to be the next step for that. And if we take a look, we're going to take a look at the leader first. And it does a lot. You guys want to talk about it?
Go for it, Sandy.
Alright, so the leader, he's got a permanent where all of your Agent of Destruction cards in your hand have no specified cost. I don't think this is hugely important because you get the 1-drop AOD on board. But the auto is very good. When he attacks, you can choose up to 1 card in your life added to your hand. So it's got solid Self-Awakening. And then you look it up to 5 cards from the top of your deck and add up to 1 Agent of Destruction card. Card with Agent of Destruction in its name and add it to your hand. So this makes the deck very consistent. This front side actually feels really good because you're never whiffing. You're finding the cards you want to find for the most part. So yeah. And then for less life, you draw a card and then choose up to 1 of your energy and switch to active mode. And then on the backside, he doesn't draw, but this isn't really an issue. Most of the AOD cards either replace themselves or +1 in some manner. So his activate main is choose 1 of your Agent of Destruction cards with an energy cost of 2 or less in your hand and play it. And thanks to the 1-drop AOD, you get to play your 3-drops, 3-drop AOD from hand for free. This effect is very powerful. If you know me, I like free playing cards. It's kind of busted, so that's a lot of fun. And then his other activate main, which won't come up as often, but it does have value, is once per turn you can tap 3, choose 1 unison card with Agent of Destruction in its card name, and play it with 3 markers on it. And I guess we'll go over that unison later on. But yeah, leader's pretty good overall. Works very well with the archetype.
Definitely. I think they did pretty well to design this leader, and it does quite a lot. Just to keep everything consistent and just to have options. Just free things have historically been kind of problematic, but we'll see what it comes out, or when this comes out and people start playing it and it goes against other decks. But as we go into the engine, we have Hachiak, Garlic Jr., and as well as Turles, with Garlic Jr. being the first Garlic Jr. in the game, which is pretty crazy that they wanted to go ahead and put in the special anniversary box. But every single one of these cards, and the cards that we do take a look at in a second, has their purposes. But do you want to talk about it, Jane?
Yeah, sure. So the Hachiak is the thing you're going to be mulliganing for the most, in my opinion. The activate main, you tap an energy and you play an evil wizard from your deck with a cost of 1. And you're going to be finding that set 6 1-drop AOD that reduces cost and gets rid of specified cost. That turn 1 basically sets you up for your turn 2 and your turn 3 kills. And then also has the auto where you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less and send it to the warp. And then you get to choose up to 3 battle cards from your opponent's drop and bottom deck them in any order, which is insanely good considering how Goku Ape is really prevalent. Overwhelm's really good right now, so being able to kind of slow that down just a little bit. Yeah, I think it's just really important, as well as getting rid of sparking. If your opponent's playing sparking negates, I think Hachiak has a lot of value as a card itself. And then Garlic Jr. is probably like the most broken card out of the whole thing. It could be number 2 or 3, but regardless, it's really important. It's a negate for 1 when you have Bobby out, and on play you play an AOD with a cost of 2, other than himself from the deck with its skills negated. So you can use it defensively. You can negate the attack. Have a 1-drop 15k that plays another 15k. You can go to this next card, Turles. You can go into some of the other cards, Android 13. You can go into Super Combo, stuff like that. But realistically, you're going to be using it on your turn a lot. It sets up for a lot of aggressive plays with, the SCR and Belmat and a bunch of stuff that we're going to talk about later. And then Turles is also really good. It has Barrier and Unique. When he swings, you look at top 5 and you grab an AOD. So basically, after you awaken, Turles is your leader swing in the sense that it gives you your +1 for the turn. It does have Unique, which prevents you from developing like a ridiculous amount of hand advantage, but there are ways to get around Unique that I'll talk about later. But overall, the card's really solid, really insane card.
Sweet. Did we miss anything there, Sandy?
One thing I want to go over. Well, 2 things I want to go over with Hachiyak. So the activate main of Hachiyak is not leader locked, which is the reason this whole engine is splashable in pretty much any deck you can think of. Like I'm trying it with Reboot Gohan right now. It's kind of like we don't need to go into it at the moment, but this, I think Hachiyak is very important, like because you just get to splash it in any deck. And then what Jaden was saying with the auto where you bottom deck 3 cards, I had purposefully built Dredgeku or tried to build Dredgeku in order to beat the deck by like breaking the board and Dormant Potential Unleashed with Roshi's and like Zerloins into the Set Tengoku package. This card just completely shuts that out. Like you would think Dredgeku is good against a go wide deck like this, but Hachiyak really makes things difficult for that leader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I think like a lot of decks get affected by Hachiyak. Not only that, it's kind of like a core thing for the deck to get Bobbity out and just continue to play for free or for cheap. But from the Ape to even Invoker, like all the stuff that you have to pitch all those cards and then look at the top card and then get that card or whatever, right? You have to send them to Warp. Dredgeku is a huge one. There's a lot.
It only hits battle cards though, so it doesn't.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it doesn't super hit Invoker, but right. Yeah.
Never mind. Then Overwhelm is exactly what I'm gonna go with then.
Yeah.
Either way.
And
Sparking. And if we go into the next cards, we're gonna look at the Broly, the Android 13, the 1-drop extra card, and then the super combo that's dedicated to this as well. Let's talk about that.
Oh, you can go for it, Sandy.
Okay, so Broly is a pretty decent card. He's like the main target you want off of your free plays with your leader. He does have an activate main for 1, which we don't use very often because we play quite aggressively, but I think the activate main is pretty good. He just essentially fetches back any AOD you want from your drop area. So if you need an Android 13 for if you're up against the red matchup and they have 2 energy for Topo, if you can turn it from like a 5k into a 10k by grabbing back your super combo. You can grab back Garlic Juniors as well, so you can either continue to progress your board state or have a negate so that you don't die. But the really good thing about this card is it's auto. When you play it, you get to KO a card that costs 5 or less, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 5 or less. So it's board removal, and then when you play it, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you get to add 1 card to hand, and then the other 2 go to the drop area. So it fetches your cards that are non-AOD. So this is gonna, like, instead of being forced to draw like your secret rare or like some of your other tech options for turn, you use Broly to find those pieces, and then you fuel the drop for your overwhelm cards. Yeah. And he's just a 20k beater for free, so it's really good with the leader. So I think that's pretty much everything I have to go over with Broly. The Android 13 counterplay this is like when Bobbity is on board. This is one of the best counterplays they probably ever printed. Like it's a 1 mana stop your opponent playing a 3-drop or less, and then your opponent has to discard a card. So if they want to, essentially in the mirror, it's really good. If they want to play a Garlic, you go 1 mana into 1 mana. They don't get to play the Garlic. They discard a card from hand, and you make a 1 mana 15k body. I think this is really good. If your opponent is playing red and they play Topo into this card, they might as well scoop because they've probably just killed themselves.
Yeah, they had to pitch 2 for this, and then they don't even get the effect.
It's just so neg. It's like a -3 for a single negate. It's just not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has an auto, which doesn't come up with me too often. I see Jaden doing it every now and then, where shuffle two Agent of Destructions from your drop area into your deck.
Yeah, or Evil Wizard.
Mm-hmm. Talking about Bobbity, basically.
Right. Yeah, so I think that's fine. It shuffles things into the deck so you can recycle them or grab them with what's it called?
Garlic, right?
Turles, Garlic. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that's pretty good. Jane, you want to go over the other 2 cards?
Oh yeah. So the extra card is pretty ridiculous with the 1-drop Bobbity. It's free because it takes away specified cost and reduces the cost by 1. So for free, what you're doing is you're looking at the top 2. If they're AOD cards, you add them to hand. If not, they get put to the bottom of the deck, I believe. And then if you added a card, you can take a life. And what's important there is that you have to add cards from deck in order to take the life. So if you end up playing against AOD and you see them try and take a life, they're not allowed to do that. And it's really important for trying to awaken turn 2 and turn 3 to get those pushes for game. But the card in itself is really insane because for 0 energy, you can potentially go +2. And it searches whatever pieces you need. It searches Android 13, which is really good, if you're trying to kind of bait out something from the opponent, or what their deck does, so you're having that counterplay ready. And it's also good for stuff like Garlic to start getting that aggro going. And then this next card, Slug, it doesn't do anything super combo wise. It's just a 0/10 with unique, but its auto is what makes it kind of ridiculous, especially in the mirror match. If your opponent wants to activate a counterplay, they have to ditch 2, and it kind of ruins the counterplay. The mirror match. The mirror match is really like big brain. You have to genuinely like outplay your opponent. That's assuming you both see Bobbity. Because if you don't see Bobbity, it's going to be rough. But it is super big brain. You have to think out everything. You have to think about how you're going to get around Slug, if you're going to run into it. The card itself is really helpful because it stops it, or I wouldn't say stops. It deters your opponent from using Android 13 on stuff like your Garlics and stuff like that. And it's also good for whatever reason if they wanted to use like the new counterplay Trunks or the new counterplay Yamcha or whatever. If it gets to that point, it deters them from actually using those cards, which is really great. And it's a target for Garlic, which is usually the first target you go for off of Garlic, which is really nice.
For sure. I think just in general, just having a basically free super combo that does an additional effect is nice. I think it's some people were saying, I've seen comments where like, do you split them? Do you play 4 or whatever? Because you're kind of giving up a draw super combo. But I don't think that's really the case in this one, right? Like, do you guys just agree with playing 4 or no?
Yeah, I think Sandy and I are pretty good on 4.
Yeah,
I think you play 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, because I don't think you need the draw, because normally like you awaken on turn 2 or turn 3 or whatever, and you're trying to close out the game within the next turn or 2, so you're not losing out on too much card advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And like some games, if you hit really well on that extra card, you've got like, I've had 14 card hands in some games. And another really good thing about the Slug super combo is if you're in a pinch, you can Garlic, Junior negate, grab the super combo off the super combo, Garlic Junior negate again, and bring out another super combo.
Yeah.
So it has so much synergy with the rest of the deck, considering it's searchable with Turles, the extra cards. You can grab it back with Broly. it's just got so much synergy with the rest of the package that I think you run it at 4.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I would agree.
All right, well, we're gonna move on to the Unison the Bobby, which I can take because they're pretty simple. I feel like just having a, which in this deck is 3 costs for the leader, or just a 4, which technically I think due to whatchamacallit. Well, just in general, you're never gonna play it for 4 green, right? That just never comes up. You play it with the leader.
It's kind of sketch.
Yeah, and then the auto goes out where you drop a card, you discard it, and then you basically blow up their board, ignoring barrier. And now you have a 20k double striker, which in this case is 25k because you're gonna do the +1, and just adds another form of aggression, right? And then Sandy says that is the best sweeper NA. Just reading this off here, and I do agree. I don't think we've really had a card like this. I don't think we've ever had a card like this.
Just the comment on the sweeper. This is like, we don't have any seriously good sweepers in the game. Like, we've had Kami, we've had Kaioken, and now we have Vegeta. Like, if you think about it, 3 energy and minus a card to remove their entire board with ignoring barrier, like no like power limitations, no energy limitations.
Right.
You just get to wipe the board for 3 energy, and then on top of that, very powerful effect, you get to make a 20k double strike critical that will be applying loads of pressure to your opponent's leader, and then if they want to remove it, they have to attack into it. Like, for 3 energy, you're just getting so much value out of this card that I think it's really insane.
I do agree with that. I think the fact that this is a Unison makes it extremely busted. Simply because you have off the bat four markers that they have to deal with, which every turn it's a double strike critical 25k, but also you can't really respond to it. Like with Kami, it's a 3 cost blow up the board, but that has restrictions because it's 4 or less, and they can respond to it. But this one, it's just stupid. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how that goes in the future. And of course, we have the 1-drop Babidi we've been mentioning. There's not really much to say other than what Jaden and Sandy has mentioned already. Reduce the costs and reduce the specified costs as well. But it kind of enables the entire deck, and it's very important to keep them on the board. What was that?
You need this card. Super important.
100%. And as we get into the list, this is Jaden's list. What you got for us?
All right, so right off the bat, it might seem a little strange because I have, stuff like the Weskai and I only have the Unison at 2. But basically, the thought process behind the deck list was Senzubin is broken. You need turn 1 Babidi, and the Unison at 2 is kind of like, I'm usually winning games turn 2 or 3. And you only ever need to see 1 Unison, which the deck searches. The extra card, Turles, your leader, it all searches and grabs you the Unison whenever you need it. So that's why that's at 2. Babidi at 4, I think is standard. Every AOD deck should be having Babidi at 4. It's your turn 1 play. You need to see that, or Hachiek. Weskai, because it's blue. It's good defensively against stuff like Vegex if, they're trying to go for the clapback and they're swinging for game. They're like, cool, Bibidi super combo, and you're like, lol, put it back in your hand. I think that's really helpful, and if, there's some clapback from yellow decks, you can get rid of Bardock Ape, which is kind of niche, but it's still important nonetheless. But it's honestly really there as a blue charge, because I think Senzu Bean is really important. 4 Bean, because Bean is broken. 4 of the extra card, you need to see it as soon as possible. It's key for your turn 2 and 3 awakenings. Searches all your pieces, and it's free. Turles at 4, it's a target for Garlic. It's a +1. There's not much else that needs to be said about that.
Pretty much all the AOD stuff is at 4, right?
Yeah.
I think all the AOD stuff that we need to discuss is at 4 because they're just so important.
Yeah, they're all like pretty key. I only play 1 Isekai. I think you only need 1, but it's personal preference. I believe Sandy plays 2 or something like that. The Bardock Overrealm. So the Bardock Overrealm is a free 20k that lets you draw your non-AOD pieces. You don't really care about having a drop area. So Overrealm is kind of perfect for the deck. The Broly helps kind of enable the overwhelm in the deck, which is really nice. But it's mostly there as an extra aggressor to draw your non-AOD pieces. Belmod. Now Belmod is super dumb in this deck because you go so wide. Belmod, there's basically never a point where you're like, wow, I wish I could Belmod right now, because you always can. Belmod, there's some like kind of like key niche things that you can do that pop up more than you would think. So the super combo and Turles have unique, which obviously means you can only have one of each of them on board. So I do some funny plays. I'll like swing with the super combo, swing with Turles, and like overwhelm Bardock or something. Draw my card, swing with Bardock, and then I'll pop the 3 to play the Belmod. And because I have access to Bean, I can now play the super combo and Turles again because they're only 1 energy each, and get around that unique keyword. And it's also removal. The deck is full of removal. I don't think there's really any more removal that's needed besides this next card, Secret Identity. And the reason you play Secret Identity is for, I would say, Earthling Bulma, because the amount of blockers they can play out is kind of ridiculous, and helps get around that. It's free, it's a 25k, and in the mirror match, I think it's absolutely necessary, because you need to get rid of their slugs so your Android 13 is live. And also, if you put the stuff in the warp, if the game goes long, they can't recycle it with Android 13, which is really awesome. And also, it's a 0-5, which is
0-5
always great.
for 25k that gets rid of tokens too? Boy.
Yeah. And then for the SCR, we play Cell. There's no reason to play any other SCR. Cell gets the job done. It's ridiculous. Basically, I mean, I don't think like it's special, like thinking of Cell, because it was gonna happen like eventually. Someone was gonna be like, "Lol, you play green and yellow. Let's just play Cell." But I was talking to the deck about the deck with one of our teammates, Josh, and I was like, "What if we put Cell in there? It'd be hilarious." And we were like, "Wait, that's broken." So I started testing it, and the amount of aggression you have, like on top of playing Cell, is kind of dumb. Like turn 2, 16 plus swings plus a Cell Xeno swing, and it's like, what do you do about that? You know what I mean? It's like, just draw the Nimbus, lol. Just topo and then get Android 13, lol. It's kind of ridiculous in this deck. The fact that it doesn't cost any energy makes it really accessible, and all of them being 2 and 3 cost, and then your Belmod being a 4, and being able to get rid of like your non-successor fodder for Belmod, it like the synergy in the deck is insane. I think the deck is a top tier contender easily.
For sure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have Sandy's.
Okay, so I didn't know what the deck was until Jaden punched me in the face very hard with it. So pretty much the entire deck is his. I run 3 Vegeta. Like if you look at the list, there's Strength of Legends and there's more Vegetas. I've sort of thrown in Strength of Legends to give the deck a bit of more top end, because I don't expect against like serious players on like the top tier decks, you're gonna be winning on turn 2 or turn 3 every game. So I've given my deck like a minor change so that I can like just
Have that option, I guess.
progress into the late game a bit better. And like the main thing is Hatch, right? Because I want to have at least 1 Strength of Legends in the main board game 1 against Hatch, because it swings over the permanent. So I think, and even if you don't manage to charge like a red energy, because I'm very greedy with my red, you can always just like combo off a Hidden Power E Supreme Kai, and then play it for free. Like it's a free 35k body, which is really good. But when you get off that activate main, like if for whatever reason you get to turn 5 and you get off that activate main and then you sell Xeno, like it's disgusting. And I like the Unison at 3, because it's very good against decks like Sin Shenron, especially on turn 4. Like you can turn 4, play this card, pop their 9 drops, however many they have, and then when they go to play the balls, you Android 13 the balls, because they don't have deflect. So you've just completely ruined their game plan, like you've completely stopped the deck. And then I also, if for whatever reason it sticks on the board for more than a turn and your opponent hasn't put any resources into it, that second turn it stays on board, you can put the same card underneath, get it to 5, and then swing with 20k double strike crit and force them to combo a card out or 2 cards out, and then you -5 and they lose 3 cards from hand. So I just sort of give my deck the ability to have the option to go a bit more into the top end,
Okay.
which is yeah.
Pretty solid. I think both of them offer different things, but they're pretty similar, and the idea behind it is good, right?
I mean they're practically the same. I just decided I would want to run Strength of Legends as like a second secret rare.
Okay. Well, either one. I like both. And the last things we're going to go through are the Cyborg Cards, which features the Super 17 successor, of course, the Strength of Legends that Sandy just went over, Protector of the People, and then Android 13. I don't think there's really too much that we could get into for these, right? Because Super 17 is for the hatch matchup and just control in general when you can't really go too wide. Or if you do go wide, they kind of stop you. And then Strength of Legends is exactly what Sandy was saying, Hatchiyak and just good top end. Protecting the People is good for aggro and even the mirror match. And then 13 is a free body that you can pay to and KO something and make them pitch one. Plus is a 20k critical body. So, I mean, that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. And the last few cards are going to be the Mirror Assault from the Skies, which is just, it's good. I mean, I'm not sure. It's just another option for overruns in your overrun slot. And then Max Power Kamehameha. For those who don't know, it's a negate the attack for 1 black, so any color. You choose, or may choose, 4 cards from your drop area to your warp. And if you do, you can return this card from your drop area to your hand. You can't activate it again, so it's basically recyclable negate. And then the other part is that on your turn, activate main, you get to warp something that is greater than their current energy on their side, which is just really good because with Sen Shenron and a number of other decks, they just kind of put out something tall for cheap. And of course, Topo is another good defensive option since you play red, and you can play red with Strength of Legends. It's just a generically good card. It's always been a good card, but I don't think I missed anything there too, right?
I just want to go over why Mira. This was one of the sideboard options that I had chosen. It's just because in aggro matchups, reboot Gohan or something, you want to be able to sideboard into a more aggressive card. So Mirror Assault from the Skies is a 1 mana 30k double strike that draws a card, and then if for whatever reason it doesn't kill, it's a net energy investment of 0. So I just think this is good against trying to close out games earlier against decks that you need to close out the game earlier against, if that makes sense.
No, it does, for sure. I mean, 1 energy, draw a card, untap 1, double strike 30k. I mean, it does a lot. It does a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
For sure. Okay, and that's pretty much it. I think, by the time that you see this ending, or by the time you see the video, or you guys click on the video, I will be breaking out the video itself in sections, so you can always take a look there. And before we do any closing thoughts, Sandy should be doing keyword should be doing another video with gameplay, turn by turn basis, and just talking about matchups in general there too. So definitely check it out. I'll put a link in the description below, and let us know in the comments below if you have any questions, any closing thoughts, boys and girls.
First of all, for those that want to ask questions, I'll probably hop in on the comments every now and then, and we can definitely discuss the deck and my thoughts on counter cards and things like that. Closing comments. This deck kind of excites me, and I know for some people with how excited I was for U3, they're obviously going to be a bit concerned. I really like this deck because it's probably the best aggro deck, go wide aggro deck that I can play. But I don't know if at the moment it has any cause for concern. We just need to let the meta adapt to it before we start stressing out too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with what Sandy said. I think it should also be known that people are kind of talking about this is how you beat the deck. Use these cards, stuff like Unexpected Turn and stuff like that. You have to realize that in a deck that can reestablish boards so easily, that side cards don't win you the matchup. I think it's very important that you learn the matchup against AOD, when to swing, when to not swing, thinking about, oh, can they awaken this turn? Can they not awaken this turn? They have an energy up with the Babidi. Am I going to close out the game? Is there a need for me to swing? Stuff like that. I think more important than thinking about side cards, which is what a lot of people like to do in the Dragon Ball community, is they just pick a card and they're like, oh, lol, this beats the deck. The deck's trash.
I mean, look at what happened with me when I said Vegeta was broken. So.
Boy, you need to stop getting stuff banned. But yeah, I do agree. I've always been behind that philosophy, and I used to do the combat the meta videos before I did like Cyborg card videos and things like that. And I think the number one thing to kind of understand how to beat something is to understand how it works. And if you guys understand how everything works in this video, I hope so. But other than that, subscribe if you're new, like, dislike, comment below, join the Discord, buy my merch, do the other things. I don't know anything else. Everybody say bye.
We love you very much.
Okay.
Bye.
We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.